Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, wrestling reporter and columnist Justin LaBar. And his opponent, you. Call, tweet, email, because you can go one-on-one with Justin LaBar in Wrestling Reality right now on Trib Live Radio.
Big Show and Big Johnny together, bigger than ever. That's the storyline, at least. Wrestling Reality here on Trib Live Radio, presented by Tailgaters. Is Wrestling Reality. Happy to say Tailgaters sticking around with us. We had a great time a couple Mondays ago with all of you guys doing our Raw pre-show when it was in Pittsburgh, and hope to have some announcements very soon, hopefully by next week's show, of when we're going to be back out at Tailgaters and how you can hang out and watch Raw with myself and others. We got a great show lined up here today. We're going to talk about a lot of things, of course, coming off the Over the Limit pay-per-view this past Sunday, coming off Monday Night Raw last night at 4 p.m. We're going to be joined by WrestleZone writer Chris Cash. Chris and I going to debate, because we are on legitimate opposite sides of the fence when it comes to how and what and if the John Cena divorce thing should be talked about or reported. We got a lot of stuff to get to. Let's do what we do. Let's start with Raw last night. John Cena starts Raw and is very frustrated over the Big Show helping John Laurinaitis win the night before. Cena vocalizes some very interesting things. He mocks how Laurinaitis will probably come out and make some match in the case of People Power for the next pay-per-view. He mocks that Big Show, had he stayed out of the match at Sunday, Cena says that if Cena would have won, Vicky, Teddy, Triple H, even the anonymous GM computer would have rehired Big Show back. Interesting, because it's not common that WWE would vocalize the other options, or even the other options that show the lack of logic in the storyline, but they did in fact do that. Eve Lewinsky comes out, introduces Big Johnny, who then introduces Big Show. Big Show talks about how people didn't care that he was on his knees crying, that after all of his years in the business, he just got fired, and people didn't get what he was being put through. Then, a big error, probably the top story, sadly for WWE, coming out of Raw, was verbalized. The stipulation in the John Cena vs. Laurinaitis match was, anything goes, no DQ, whatever, but if Laurinaitis lost, he would be fired, and if any WWE superstar interfered, they would be fired. So when Big Show was fired the Monday previous, we figured, okay, now he's fired, so if he randomly comes in, we can't be fired if he interferes. But what Big Show and Laurinaitis end up saying on Raw is that Laurinaitis signed Big Show to a contract on Saturday, which that would make him a superstar, so he should be fired. So that didn't make any sense. They go past it here in the segment. But WWE eventually realized via Twitter, apparently, that a lot of people, the entire WWE universe on Twitter, most of them realized that this didn't make any bit of sense. So Michael Cole gets fed an excuse, gets fed a cover-up in his headset on commercial, and during commercial, when they come back on commercial, he talks about how, well, there was a verbal agreement on Saturday, but the actual signing of the contract didn't happen until the wee early hours of Monday morning. Look, I defend WWE a lot of times. I get a lot of hate from the constant people that complain, that think I defend WWE too much. I don't even necessarily defend it, but I oftentimes, I have more ways, more experience, or more understanding of the possibilities of what WWE is thinking or trying to or not to do. So I try to not jump on and attack everything with a fury of negativity. But this time, I can't. That was just bad. Having a kind of a creative lapse of logic error like that was just bad. I'll give you more thoughts on that entire mess up coming up in the next segment. Tyler Rex and Kurt Hawkins, though, Titus O'Neil and Darren Young all start coming out attacking John Cena. Good to see Tyler Rex being used. Sheamus comes to the help of John Cena, comes to the aid of Cena. Johnny puts them in a main event for later on. Otunga now hits to the ring to take on John Cena in an official match. Cena makes quick work of Otunga, who, by the way, every week, more oil, bigger physique, getting bigger every week. Santino Marella interrupts Ricardo Rodriguez, and they have a battle of rolling their R's. Santino, easily the most entertaining guy, top to bottom. If you disagree, you're wrong, but you can call me on the show and go one-on-one with that matter. Funny stuff, Ricardo eventually brings out Del Rio. and he takes on Randy Orton, and then Chris Jericho gets involved. He hits the code breaker on Orton and repeatedly tells him he's the best in the world at what he does. More mocking on the social media of Jericho because he's over. He hasn't got the bat off of his shoulders since his return. Daniel Bryan comes out and does what Daniel Bryan does and delivers a top-line heel promo about the injustice of what happened the night before in his match with CM Punk. Bryan versus Kane with the special and always entertaining treat of CM Punk on commentary. Good match for the few minutes we got. Kane versus Bryan until Punk takes a chair. He frames Bryan. Kane thought Bryan was going to hit him with a chair, and he begins to beat Bryan with that chair like a government mule, as JR would say. Several choke slams, and then Punk gives him the Anaconda Vice. This is far from over, and I hope it never ends. CM Punk runs into AJ backstage. AJ, who is selling crazy quite well. New Intercontinental Champ Christian, yay, up against Jinder Mahal. Double yay. Actually, one of the better, maybe the best match I can actually recall Jinder Mahal being in that I've seen in WWE. Christian surprises and pops the crowd with a frog splash from the top rope to get the win. Beth Phoenix versus Kelly. Kelly making patriotism look so damn good. Beth with the win. Handicap lumberjack match is our main event. Sheamus and John Cena versus Jack Swagger, Dolph Ziggler, and Tensai. Not Lord Tensai, but Tensai. Not a bad move, shortening him just to Tensai. We'll talk about that later. Fun fact, Swagger, Ziggler, and Tensai, all three college wrestlers, former college wrestlers. All hell breaks loose at the end. Everybody beats down Cena and Sheamus. Then all the faces come out. The entire roster seems to be splitting and a big Donnybrooks going on. Cena escapes the ring, looking backstage for Big Show. He runs into Laurinaitis. Big Johnny reminds him that he can't be touched or else Cena will be fired. Laurinaitis limps away, and Cena stands there. He starts to look the other way and turns around to be met with a knockout punch from Big Show. How does a man like the Big Show sneak up on you? Don't get it. That's how they go off the air for Raw. We'll see how y'all feel about it. 412-320-7925 is the number. sportstalk@tribweb.com is the email. You can tweet me at Justin LaBar. A lot to talk about when we come back here. Trib Live Radio, presented by Tailgaters.